Today we're going to cook Kashmiri or something. Alright, let's get to the aniseed. We have onions. We have garlic. Alright, today we're going to be doing a recipe out of this book, Kashmiri Cooking. It's going to be an interesting dish. This book is actually really interesting. I picked this up around the year 2000. I was living in New Jersey, driving a truck. I had delivery up in Saratoga Springs, New York. Beautiful town. Stopped off for lunch at a used bookstore. I was already into ethnic cooking. And I found this book, and I was like, "Wow, this is interesting." I don't know anything about Kashmir or Kashmiri food, and this is the book that really started me collecting ethnic cookbooks. I have 300, 400 ethnic cookbooks, and this is still one of my favorite ones. And I've had this for so many years. So I went to the tavern later that night, and I told my friend Mohan Lili, he's from Mumbai. I said, "Hey, I bought a Kashmiri cookbook today," and he's like, "Ooh," his eyes lit up. He was like, "Kashmiri food." He's like, "That's my favorite." He's like, "I am so tired of eating Punjabi food here in New Jersey. Most Indian restaurants do Punjabi food. There's a few that do southern Indian dishes, but for the most part, it's all the same shit. It's all Punjabi." And I started cooking some dishes out of here, and he really enjoyed the fact that I was cooking Kashmiri food, and I like this book. I've cooked maybe 10 different recipes in this book, and some I've done over and over and over again. The one we're going to do today, Gogji Shabdegh, it's interesting. It's unlike anything I've ever had, and I've done this recipe many times. So this is a fun book. All right, let's get to the recipe and check out what we need to do. All right, today we're going to be cooking Gogji Shabdegh, mutton with turnips. Interesting dish, really nice. I've done it quite a few times. It's actually, I really like it with lamb. Pork, that's what I have today. Not a Kashmiri favorite, but I have 6 pounds of pork, and I need to pressure can it. So this is the recipe I'm going to do. More than likely we'll have leftovers, and I'll cook whatever doesn't fit in jars on the side. So let's go with the recipe here. Oil, cloves. We'll probably drop 1 clove into each jar. We'll keep the 2 pounds of mutton, pork, and the 2 pounds of turnips on the side, and we'll take the salt, asafoetida water. That's a weird thing. The Brahmins and the Pandits have an issue with garlic and onions. One doesn't eat garlic, one doesn't eat onions, and this is kind of the go in between. It comes in a powdered form, and it's called hing in Hindi. I used to have it. I used to use it when I was in New Jersey. There's tons of Indian places, but I've shied away from that, and I just use onions and garlic instead. I mean, I don't have an issue with those, so that's what goes in it. Black cardamoms, we're probably going to chop those in half and drop those in the jars as well. They're funky. They have an earthy, odd taste and smell that you can't even describe them. They might be hard to come by, so if you don't, use green ones. It's all good. Chili powder, any ground chilies, Kashmiri chilies, New Mexican reds. I'm using paprika. Got 4 cups of water, turmeric powder, fennel, which is aniseed, powdered ginger. Use powdered ginger. All Kashmiri recipes pretty much use powdered ginger. I think it goes back to these are traditional recipes that go back quite a bit in time, and their winters are super harsh, man. They're in the mountains, and I think they dry everything. So in the winter when they cook, it's just dried. They even dry root vegetables, and they just take dried root vegetables, spices, and meat, and then cook. And that's what it's all about. The garam masala, that's fairly easy to come by. Kashmiri spice cake. This is an interesting one. So I went to the spice cake section in this book to look up this recipe to see how many spices or what spices are in a Kashmiri spice cake, and they didn't have it listed. So it's guaranteed very, very similar to garam masala. I would just say just go 1.5 teaspoons for the 2 pounds of meat, and that's good. So yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll fill jars, we'll put meat in them, then we'll put the turnips in there, we'll drop the cloves in there, we'll do the little half black cardamoms, and then we'll mix all of the spices in 4 cups of water and just divvy it with all the jars and see how that comes out. It's pretty easy when you have these curries where you just mix all the spices in water and just ladle them into each jar, and then if you need to add a little more liquid, you just top it off with water or something. All right, let's get to it. Quick rundown on the ingredients. We have onions, we have garlic, we have ginger powder, we have cloves, black cardamom. If you don't have those, a couple green ones would do fine. Sea salt, we have fennel powder, paprika, turmeric, which was interesting because I bought this whole fresh, not fresh, dried, hard as a rock, and had to grind them up in the spice grinder. Boy, that was interesting. And then we have some garam masala. We have 6 pounds of meat, pork, and 4.5 pounds of turnips. All right, let's get to it. Here are all the spices. I'm going to add like 4.5 cups of water to this thing. We're going to stir this up real good. Fill up all these jars. These are all filled up. Time to clean them up and put them in the yellow banana. These are ready to rock. I'm going to throw the lid on there, turn it on, and once this gets up to steam, we'll set the timer and see you in 75 minutes. I have 10 pints in here, and I have a lot of leftover food. So, man, this is a lot. I guess I should have done 7 quarts and I would have had a little bit less left over, but this is cool, man. This is a great dish. I could always freeze a little bit of it if I want and put the rest on the shelf. Okay, this looks like it's going to be dinner tonight. A lot of leftovers. I guess I had a lot of meat and I needed to use it. So 10 pints of Gogji Shabdegh and this full pot. Not too shabby. We're at 10 psi. And I got the timer set. All right, school bus ride is over. All right, let's take this off here. All right, I'm gonna let these things cool down, and then we'll clean them up.
All right, this dish turned out pretty decent. It's a pretty flexible dish. If meat gets expensive and you want to just do a little bit of meat and a lot of turnips, that's fine. If you like a lot of meat, yeah, go for it. It's interesting. My wife really never had turnips before, and she says they're not mealy like a potato, but they have this slick consistency or texture like a beet. But it's kind of like a potato. It's a nice root vegetable. Again, this curry tastes like unlike anything you've ever had, and it's got a real nice golden color to it. It's a good looking curry. We topped it with green onions. That's all I had, but I've done it with cilantro in the past. Both work very, very well. And this is a very earthy, satisfying curry that's definitely different and interesting. I will make this again. But thanks for watching.